These are the Swedish people. A scene such as this is very common in Sweden. Although it may look somewhat familiar, this is a very Swedish tradition. They are enjoying Fika. So what is Fika? It is an important part of the day for most Swedes. Not only is it a time to socialise with friends and colleagues, but it is also a break for us to relax and regain energy for the rest of the day. But what does a typical Fika look like? The Swedish public may be able to shed some light on what they enjoy having for Fika.
So, a typical Fika, how does it look for you?
Well, it usually applies coffee or tea or something like that. For me it's tea.
Yes, coffee and maybe something to eat, not always.
Macka och kaffe och kakor. Eller ett väldigt rejält bakverk, typ semlor.
Well, I don't drink coffee, so I have tea. And then I love cookies, so I will have like a cookie or maybe a fruit.
As you can see, people associate various things with having Fika. The basic concept consists of something to drink, mostly coffee or tea, and often something sweet to have with it. But this is not always the case. Today, there are all sorts of different kinds of Fika. To most Swedes, it does not matter what you eat or drink, but that it is a time to socialise. Even so, there exists a myriad of so-called fikabröd that is eaten during Fika. Fika is quite an old tradition in Sweden, and to go more in depth on the subject, we need to know more about its history. We decided that an accurate source would be Annie Mattsson, as she has written an article on Fika and is a historian at Uppsala University. We asked to interview her regarding this Swedish coffee break.
History and start from the beginning. What has changed over time since the beginning of when people starting having Fika?
Well, it depends on how you define the starting of Fika. The word Fika, it was started using that in perhaps early 20th century. It's a play with words, the sort of slang where you kaffe in Sweden, where you just throw around the sounds into fika, kaffe, fika. So that's when the word started. We started using that word, but the tradition of drinking coffee together had started in the 18th century, as in many other parts of the world.
Furthermore, she says that as some Swedes started to drink coffee during the 18th century, it was a luxury product, something the workers could not afford. So they kept on drinking alcohol during the day instead of coffee. She states that in the earlier 20th century, coffee had become less expensive and something for the general public to enjoy. And this is also the time where the Fika tradition started to take form. Coffee drinking has actually been prohibited many times in Sweden, the last time being during the early 1800s. But as people had already started to drink it, the ban couldn't stop people from having coffee, since it is somewhat addictive, and therefore the prohibition ended. Instead, home brewing of alcoholic beverages became illegal, which cleared the way even more for coffee drinking. As you have seen, almost everyone in Sweden takes part in this phenomenon. This is because this tradition lies deep within the Swedish culture and its people. If you come to Sweden, it is almost impossible to not encounter Fika. And even though it is so well established in our everyday life, it's fairly new, only about 150 years old. In the same way coffee and alcohol became a tradition and that one can become addicted to them, it can be said that the Swedish people have become dependent on Fika. But how often do we need such a thing as Fika? And how does this look in a work environment? We have interviewed the general public to see what they had to say.
So people bring some bread or some small food to have with, and then we have a break during the work with coffee or tea. Actually, I think it's a good break that can happen between the work, the heavy work, and then you can talk a little bit to your colleagues that normally maybe if you don't have Fika you will not talk. The thing actually now there are some people who have been in Sweden and come back to work in China, they are trying to spread in this kind of Fika thing in China. And the company I work is also a Swedish company, so we also have Fika in this company in China as well.
We found her answers very interesting and thought that it would be a good idea to actually go to a working area, such as an office, and see exactly how the tradition affects business in general.
Typical Fika for me is Fridays, because generally in the weeks you work so much and you don't have really time to take a break to have a Fika. So what you do is, on Fridays we always have like a communal Fika. So we sit down together, all of us, and that's the essence of Fika. It's a way of taking a break as well, and I think that's very necessary, especially today when we work with the computers and the screens and we focus quite a lot on that. To be able to go away from that screen and just have another environment, and especially an environment of a human being rather than a screen, I think that's a very stimulating for the brain, and I think that's more than necessary, to be honest. Part of it, of course, is that you get closer to your friends and your workmates, but also, of course, when you sit there and you have your Fika, you have good discussions. You have discussions of what is happening in work and discussions of finding solutions to problems and things like that. So yes, it definitely helps with having Fika at work.
So there seems to be an importance of Fika in many workplaces, and those we have interviewed agree that the regular coffee break can improve their work in different ways. We decided to go to Stockholm's University to see if it is important to students as well.
It kind of calms you down, as well as you are able to concentrate better. We do the Fika as we work, and I have a hard time picturing us just sitting in the library doing our things. Like, it's a social thing as well as a study thing.
So now we have the views of different people, both working and studying, who all think that Fika is of significance to their everyday lives. Some people we have talked to discuss the possibility of Swedes actually needing Fika to socialise with one another.
If you don't have Fika, you will not talk.
Now we have all seen the pictures going viral on the internet like these. They try to show us that us Swedes are not very sociable. Perhaps it is true that we need Fika to relax and get a conversation going, but this can't be the only effect of Fika. We searched the internet to find other positive aspects of having Fika, and as many have said that they think it improved their work, we decided to go down that route. We found an article from the BBC that shows statistics from OECD, which is a very reliable statistical source, as it is a highly respected cross-border organisation. The statistics were made over productivity by employees in different countries. Sweden, with its Fika breaks, came in 11th place. This is clearly not the best score, but Japan and South Korea, known for their long days of work, came in 20th and 30th place respectively. This seems to show that Fika breaks have a positive effect on productivity in the workplace. As we were interviewing the public, we found a man from Iran and asked him if there was anything like Fika in his home country.
How does the coffee break culture look in the country that you're from, Iran?
It's very bad, but we do have a tea. You know, that tea exactly as popular as coffee here.
Do you think that the Swedish Fika is better?
I cannot say which one is better. You know, I cannot. Doesn't matter, I've been in US 15 years. I cannot say which one is better.
To learn more about the differences between Swedish Fika and what other countries have in comparison, we contacted Mia Örn for an interview.
Jag heter Mia Örn och jag är bagare i grund och botten, eller bagare och konditor. Men jag är lite för lat för att jobba som det.
Ja.
Så att jag jobbar lite mer som matskribent. Eller jag skriver recept för böcker och tidningar och håller kurser och jobbar lite som så här konsult på lite alla möjliga sätt och vis.
As she presented, Mia has years of experience within the baking industry, which makes her a trustworthy authority, although she might be a little biased towards a positive angle of having Fika. We asked her to explain what differs between Swedish Fika and having coffee in other Western countries.
Till skillnad från typ Spanien och Frankrike och Italien där man kanske äter så här en pain au chocolat eller en croissant till frukost. Till frukost brukar ju vi svenskar äta ganska så här rejält, så här gröt eller mackor. Men sen kan man ju alltid klämma in så här förmiddagsfika. Så oftast äter jag förmiddagsfika och sen måste man ju alltid ha så här kaffe på maten och någon kaka till det. Och sen så äter jag alltid 3 fika. Redan nu finns det ju ganska många svenska konditorier i USA och i Japan och i London och sådär.
So to conclude our investigation on fika, it is a Swedish tradition, but the concept is no longer solely Swedish. Many people, especially of the Western world, are used to being able to grab a coffee with friends in every street corner. Many coffee places are available, and as Mia said, the Swedish Fika concept seems to be already spreading in big cities all over the world. So now we can ask ourselves if the Swedish Fika is actually something special for Sweden. The difference is not really found in how we enjoy coffee drinking with friends, but that we in Sweden have regular coffee breaks at work. Some people think that Fika is simply a waste of time. People sit together and drink coffee or tea during paid working hours, but our studies have shown that most people think that Fika is very effective. Taking a Fika and having these breaks improves the teamwork as people get to know each other better if they socialise. A good teamwork improves the effectiveness of work, as well as Fika can be used as an informal meeting. It is a time to discuss and deal with your projects and problems that you encounter at work. So Fika makes the work environment better, as you won't stress out because you have Fika. You won't feel lonely, as you can socialise over Fika, and you won't lose effectivity, as you can regain energy and focus. Fika is a truly great Swedish achievement.
Okay, why do you have fika?
That's a very good question. Everybody needs fika. Your own dog.